So, you're ready to start investing? That's awesome. Seriously, it's one of the most powerful things you can do for your future. But hold on. Before you even think about hitting that buy button, we're going to walk through an essential pre-flight checklist. Think of it like a pilot getting ready for takeoff. These are the checks that will turn you from a nervous passenger into the confident captain of your own financial journey.
I totally get it. You've heard about some hot new stock, you've seen the news, and that little buy button is practically screaming your name. The urge to just dive in and start picking winners is, well, it's really strong. It feels like that's the whole point, right?
But here's the thing. A pilot would never, ever dream of taking off without checking the engines, the fuel, the whole 9 yards. And a smart investor, they don't start buying assets without making sure their own foundation is rock solid. This isn't about slowing you down. It's about making absolutely sure you get where you want to go. And that brings us to the single biggest, by far, the most common mistake that new investors make. It's this laser focus on what to buy while completely ignoring the much more important questions of why you're even investing and how you're setting yourself up to actually win in the long run. You can really see the two different paths here. On one side, you've got the temptation, right? The lottery ticket approach, trying to pick that one hot stock or time the market perfectly. But on the other side, that's the reality of what actually works. It's building a solid foundation piece by piece, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. So let's get into our very first checkpoint. Before we can even think about lifting off the ground, we have to make sure the runway is clear of any huge obstacles. And in our financial lives, the biggest, baddest obstacle is almost always high interest debt. And I want you to take a second and be really honest with yourself here. What is it for you? Is it a couple of credit cards? Maybe a personal loan with a nasty interest rate? This isn't just some number on a statement. It's an active force that is literally pulling you backward while you're trying to move forward. The math here is it's brutal, but it's so important to see. Your credit card debt might be costing you, say, 21% a year. We'll call that the debt drag. At the same time, a pretty good, solid average return from the stock market is about 9%. That's our market lift. Now, to be clear, we're talking about high-interest debt like credit cards, not necessarily a low-interest mortgage. Trying to invest while carrying that kind of debt is like trying to drive a car with the emergency brake yanked all the way up. You are mathematically guaranteed to lose more money to interest than you could ever realistically hope to gain from your investments. Think of it this way. Paying off that 21% debt is an investment, and it has a guaranteed 21% return. You will not find that anywhere else. There's a fancy term for this, opportunity cost. It just means that every single dollar you send to that credit card company is a dollar that isn't working for you. It's a dollar that isn't compounding and growing for your future. So clearing that runway first, it's hands down the most powerful financial move you can make. Okay, so the runway is clear. Awesome. We can move on to checkpoint number 2, packing a crucial piece of safety gear. Because every single pilot needs a parachute. And for us as investors, that parachute is our emergency fund. And you know what I'm talking about. Life happens, right? The car decides to die, you get a medical bill you weren't expecting, or maybe your job situation changes. If all your extra cash is tied up in the stock market, what do you have to do? You're forced to sell. And usually, you're forced to sell at the absolute worst time, when the market is down, which means you lock in those losses for good. This is what your parachute, your emergency fund, protects you from. It's a cash cushion that insulates your long-term investments from short-term life drama. And building it is actually pretty simple. First, just calculate your bare-bones living expenses for 3 to 6 months. Second, open up a separate savings account for it. A high-yield one is great, so your money isn't just sitting there doing nothing. And third, automate it. Just set up a small transfer for every payday. It'll build itself without you even having to think about it. Okay, the runway is clear, your parachute is packed and ready. We're so close. Our final checkpoint is to actually program our destination. Because think about it. A flight with no destination isn't a journey. You're just burning fuel. This might be the single most important question in this whole explainer. Why are you doing this? What's the point? Is it a down payment on a house in 5 years? Is it to retire a decade early? Or maybe it's just the freedom to know you could quit your job and be okay. Knowing your why changes everything. It turns investing from this vague, boring task into a real personal mission. And these different destinations, they determine your entire flight plan. A short-term goal, like that down payment, needs a much safer, more conservative strategy than a long-term goal like retirement, which is decades away. Defining your goals gives every single dollar you invest a job to do and a clear direction to go. So there you have it. You've cleared the runway of that nasty high-interest debt. You've packed your emergency fund parachute, and you have programmed your destination with clear, meaningful goals. You are now officially cleared for takeoff. I really want you to let this idea sink in for a second. Everything we just talked about, it wasn't a delay. It wasn't wasted time that you could have been investing. It was investing. It was the launch sequence itself, the essential preparation that ensures a safe and successful flight to your destination. So let's just recap that pre-flight checklist one last time. Number 1, clear the runway. Get rid of that high-interest debt. Number 2, pack your parachute. That's your 3 to 6 month emergency fund safe and sound. And number 3, set your destination. Define what you're actually investing for. By doing this, you've completely sidestepped the biggest mistakes most people make, and you've put yourself leagues ahead of the game. With this foundation, now you're finally ready to start asking what to invest in, things like low-cost index funds and ETFs. You're not a hopeful passenger anymore. You are the pilot. So my last question for you is this. Now that your pre-flight is complete, what's your first destination?